Yes, everybody. Hello and welcome. Red Pill Phil on YouTube.
Red, red, red pill, pill, Phil. Red pill, pill, Phil, Phil. Red pill, red pill, Phil. Red pill, Phil, Phil. Red pill, Phil. Red pill, Phil, Phil.
This is a topic that you can see if you've been looking on my channel. I've been covering a little bit, looking deeper into online abuse. Started with two ladies from America working on true crime genre. Then moved over to Dolly Daydream, which is more the spiritualist kind of genre. And now this is a genre of probably multifaceted points of view, probably more paradigm bent in a sense, particularly the way the attacks are coming out. So to me, the similarities between all three are starting to pop up. Many questions as to the element of professionalism within it, organization within it, or is it just truly organic, narcissistic people? Either way, it's disruptive to the online community and anxiety towards people's lives. And it gets people to a point where there's only one option. You've just got to fight this back. And I think that ultimately is unfair, and it can steer people totally away from their original path on YouTube. So without further ado, I've got a group of guys in here. I'd love to hear more about what's been going on. Yes, mate, how we doing?
All right, how are you?
Yes, I'm doing all right. I feel somewhat lucky because online I've discovered all types of abuse and trolling and whatnot, and I try and tiptoe myself around that like a little ballerina. You guys, as people are going to discover with this, you guys are disco dancing right in the middle of it all, and that's probably the best way of putting it. There's all negative facets that you have to live with on a post by post basis. So I'd like to say thank you all for taking the time out, first of all, for speaking to us. But firstly with Simon, how are you doing, mate? Tell me how you started on YouTube and how you got to this position.
Well, originally I was just filming at Speaker's Corner, and then I started going on streams, and I'll basically talk to anyone, so anyone that's not abusive towards me. So I kind of, some of my best friends on YouTube would be Wendy, Raj, and Banksy. And yeah, mostly just Speaker's Corner stuff. So I think people get me confused. I don't know whether I'm kind of far right or Antifa. I've been accused of both at the same time.
They're just words, Simon.
Yeah.
And they can be weaponized, can't they? And a lie can get round the world before the truth can get out of it.
Yeah.
Which, as we know, we all know that. So, what you were covering certain elements that people might want to go, oh, well, paradigm, which we all know what that fight's like, and people ultimately get on you. We all know the spike that comes with. What's going on now? It's made it a hell of a lot more toxic environment, and it's also steered you off a little bit more into ultimately doing the right thing by this.
Yeah, it's become more of a one-on-one battle. And I think, that, as far as I can see it, it seems to be, oh, you want to talk about free speech? Okay, so we can talk about your partner, your parents, your babies dying, going to die. It's like an expansion of, oh, free speech, you say. And so that seems to be the tactic. Do you know what I mean? Oh, you want to talk about free speech? We're going to talk about your dead relatives. Do you know what I mean? That's the kind of, and whether or not it's kind of, intentional, or I kind of think the police or the people that do monitor YouTube are going to be getting an awful lot of intel from this. So whether or not it's kind of sort of deliberate, I'm not sure, but it's certainly been allowed to go. I've seen people close down on YouTube for a lot less.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
it does make sense. I mean, nothing in this world does anymore, mate. But when you're looking at what is actually allowed to physically go out on live streams plus uploadings, but then on a parallel, what you're seeing, the ridiculous nature why people get banned, shadow banned, you know, down thumbed, deleted comments, and even deleted channels. It doesn't make sense. There's no kind of consistency. And particularly with this as well, because comments are comments, but when it's going real world, real life, very quickly, don't they need to close this down? Don't they need to actually acknowledge that it's there and not just pretend? And in many ways, they'll be getting money off this, because if people are monetizing channels, then they're getting paid.
Yeah, I mean, I've had like 3 legitimate threats to kill, and when they've gone into the police, it's been kind of like, oh well, I mean, how much is this channel actually directly responsible for the content? Is this people actually just talking about you? Oh, it's not really malicious communications because it's not exactly to your phone. It's kind of about you on YouTube. And I'm finding myself in a position of having to prove exactly how much this channel is responsible, i.e. to the point of the names, the avatars that are allowed on. You know, you can change any of our names right now, display them, choose to display them, choose not to display them. You can boot me at any moment from the stream if I say something out of order. Do you know what I mean? It's on your judgment as to is this suitable or not. Oh, no, step the line, boom, you're gone.
I mean, you know, we're all a bit of a dickhead every now and then online, and we all like a bit of a novel, and we all love banter. But there's below the belt, Simon.
Yeah.
And when you're literally using something to twist it, weaponize it, toxify it, knowing that that is a literal hand grenade you're throwing into a playground, you know what results you're going to get there.
It's a deliberate attempt to make people say things that are over. If people are grieving or in stress, looking after someone or something like that, people know that if they throw those insults, they might get an emotive response back. And that's the aim. It's the aim to, like, you're XYZ, boom, you've just given that person what you want, what they want. Do you know what I mean? It's quite obvious.
In this journey, I've seen people radicalise over this, mate. And I'm not suggesting that on any of yous. I've just seen it in genres that have followed, even people that have been alongside. And we even know now on the flip side of it, I mean, I think yourself can testify to this, we know people that have attempted to commit suicide, become a product of it, and wasn't strong enough, you could argue. Not that you should be strong enough to have a fight like that, particularly when everyone's dragging everything about you online in such a toxifying way that you mentally can't cope, and for whatever reason, you want to take your own life. So at what point do people want to be accountable, one, for their actions, and two, for allowing it to be on air and wanting to do it in the first place?
And going into that person made things a whole lot worse by lashing out in the wrong direction, and made things worse for this lady we've got with us now, and actually tried to attack his trolls by attacking. Access was given to personal information, which has led to BATZ having a whole family kind of put out on the line and used as avatars on YouTube. That person, I mean, no one wants to be in a state where they're threatening to take an overdose online, and that's an awful thing. But then when that person, it's a cascade of crap. It's a cascade of so that person lashes out, and in that lashing out has actually dumped other people into a worse situation than they were in.
Yeah. Even the lashing out per se is an irrational act, but it's understandable when a missile has been thrown into a playground mentality. It's going to get that reaction. It's hard not to be reactive when the punches are so low, Simon, isn't it? And people are people, we're all human. there's nothing worse than someone dogging you, never mind to the next door neighbour, but online, to the online community. So I get that. I mean, I'm going to move across here now. Thank you, Simon. And at any point, if you want to jump in, go for it, mate.
Yeah.
I'm going to move over to Cam now. Cam, thank you very much for taking the time out for this. The reason why is because these tactics we're talking about, I know you're going to explain, hopefully explain your direction, how you started, how things have got to where they are as far as you're concerned. But particularly with the tactics, got you to come in with that mentality of they threw a missile into a playground. So what do you expect me to do? You know, to me, it's hello and welcome to the show anyway.
Thanks, Phil. I appreciate it for having me on. I appreciate it. But yeah, I fell for that. I instead of ducking and cover, I ran back, which was a mistake. But you know, he was at me and at me, calling me and calling me and calling me, and it's like there's only so much I can take before I'll eventually snap back, and I did, and I regretted it as soon as I did. But I suppose my venture onto YouTube, it's funny because it started off with Tommy. As I said, I was very materialistic. I was like one of them, you know, fake book girls. Like, oh, look what I have. Everything's perfect. Everything's happy. All this crap. Voted for gay marriage. All that. Everything. And then I seen the Tommy Robinson thing, and I came out to YouTube. And I seen Respect, and it kind of opened my eyes. I was like, wow.
That's more Speaker's Corner then.
Yeah. It brought me into Speaker's Corner. And so from one show to another, I kind of snowballed in. And I was like, wow, this is going on.
I'm not sure at what point you done that, but I remember covering stuff down there at Hyde Park. And I remember it getting very, very fruity and different.
Yeah, it was actually the time. You were just leaving, because I do remember you down there, and that would have been the last one that I remembered you doing.
Right.
So it was around that time, and it was like,
because I'm like, this is very incendiary. There's a lot of people that don't understand. They're not very online literate. They're throwing out all kinds of accusations and anger, and it's a hotbed. Mixed in between that, you've got people that want to defend the park, they want to be patriots, and there'll be an element of wanting to just kick back as well. There were so many things going on at once. And it's like, how the hell do you sort that out or be normal without coming up to them attacks? So that's interesting that you jumped right into that. That was a cesspit.
Yeah, and it like when I seen that, it was like, wow, okay. Yeah. Okay, so I had kind of like had the blinkers on for a long time, and yes, when I had seen that, I was like, oh my days, wow. Oh, and that was the end of materialistic Cam. The beginning of the end for me anyway. And after that, like about a year and a half of watching Speaker's Corner, yourself and other activists, like from John Lawrence was at the end, like even Busker, even though that not like, but anyway, like, so it was a variety of different English and British people. It wasn't actually Irish. So then when it started to happen in Ireland, I was like, I'm gonna go there. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna show what's happening.
But you know what, Cam? What you're saying there is you've gone from what you class yourself as middle of the ground, liberal, materialistic, not even really worrying about the world in that way. So now joining a world where instantly you're going to get castigated. You're going to get called a certain thing, which I've called, and no doubt you've all been slandered with that.
So that was the beginning, like for me, and like I'd go out on, like I'd just find out, and I'd just go to these demonstrations, and like, as I said, you don't have to be affiliated. I'm not affiliated to any like political party in Ireland. You just go, like, because at the time when I was on Facebook, you know, they'd advertise it, and I just go, and I just wanted to see what was going on, because I felt a little bit dumbed down. I didn't really know what was going on in my own back garden. So I said, okay, just go. So, and I met people there, very, very good friends, and like from all walks of life, like not like bald head, like, you know, hard men, like that
Yeah.
people say. It was none of that. Like, people had their kids there.
Mm.
So it was an eye opener, but at the
Yeah.
same time, to see across the road your own people all blacked up in black clothes, and like they'd have poles behind them like sticks, and they're screaming and throwing bottles of urine and crap like that, and screaming Nazis off their street. And I was like, who
When
are
did
you
I
calling
become a
Nazi?
Nazi? Oh, me. You're talking
And I
about,
was like,
yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
oh, you're talking about me. I was like, and this is when, like, I'd had my face out there, like, because I was stupidly, like, I didn't think anything of it. I didn't realize the dangers that came along with it.
You sound like a very spirited lady. And honestly, I love that nature in any individual. And I think doing what you're doing, you need to have it more than most. But we are all human. We've all got things that, you know, ultimately they're going to push and hurt.
You're not right, then.
I'm not right.
You're not right, no.
Do I tell you something?
You're a traitor to your own thoughts. If you think they're okay, God help you.
And we're all starting on that level, aren't we, of being miscategorized. And particularly you, with the perception bending moment that you've moved into this now that seems to be all political and paradigmal all of a sudden. You're asking more questions. You're seeing decent people, which is validating that this is all right. But yet, the paradigm shift over there, they're actually saying they're the savior of life, but they're the ones that are dressed in black.
You're the guys that are causing the problem here. All yous are dressed in black with your fucking balaclavas.
I've got a balaclava. Where's my balaclava?
Shit going on. Calling everyone a Nazi.
The Nazis.
Looking aggressive. So then you start to merge into the world of where people online are going to do malicious and vindictive things towards you. No one's prepared for that, Cam. Not when you're just asking questions, you know what I mean?
I wasn't, Phil. I wasn't. And right, like my channel, I put up all my videos. Like, we done like a food thing, like, so, because on the lockdown last year, yes, stupidly I put a mask on, right? Because anyway, I put a mask on, and we delivered, right, free food to the elderly, because
Very nice.
like, you know, the political parties were meant to do it and they weren't doing it. The government were meant to do it, they weren't doing it. So it was just like, we got food and we delivered it. It wasn't political, because it wasn't a political party.
Right.
We weren't, you know, we were just there because we wanted to help.
So it's just
But we got,
just a group of yous.
yeah, that's it, like literally all volunteers.
So what you're saying is someone put the slur that you were now doing it as a political stunt, and they tried to say that the far right are now delivering free
Yes.
meals or something.
Yes.
What?
And then the funny thing is, the far left then done it like about a month later. So yeah. They said we're trying to get gather momentum by, you know, giving free food. And it's
Lefty
like,
food is good.
Was it? What particular meals was it?
it was just like vegetables, so like onions, carrots, potatoes, and stuff like that, like, so, like, and tinned food, because
ironic that when they do
they couldn't get out.
They're full of virtue, full of righteousness. When you do it, you're just evil. I mean, what's that all about?
Yeah, that's what I was, and look, the videos were on my channel, and like everybody could see them,
right?
But like, yes, then they start like now, like, because now they've started to see that I've shown their faces. So I said, all right, okay, I'll stand there. You can poke me for long enough. Like, some, like, they'd have a big like sign saying feck you, Nazi scum. I'm like, who was that for? F off out my face, you Nazi scum. Okay. There's something dementedly wrong with you, love. I'd cross the street and we'd have our flags. Yes, I'm very proud of my flags. I'm very proud of my heritage and my country. So we all cross the road with our flags. And like this is for like two homeless people, Phil, that threw themselves in the River Liffey and nobody batted an eyelid. Now, if you can come out and counter protest a march for homelessness, well then I seriously don't know what's wrong with the world.
Counter protest culture. I noticed when
And
that became a
sometimes
thing.
I do say you should have kept the blinkers on.
Ignorance is bliss.
You should have kept the blinkers on, and you know,
Yeah,
like ignorance is bliss. It's like, because
well,
what I'm seeing now, it's like,
I know, but do you feel something's awoken in you now that you can't stop? Have you just got
yes,
to?
yeah,
How do you feel?
unfortunately.
Put words in your mouth, but the way I feel right. I'm starting to realise all the agitations, whether it's on purpose or whether it's just people losing the shit around me. I get how unfair it is. I feel I've got to make myself and what I do a bit more sophisticated to make sure that one, I'm doing the right thing, and two, still getting my point across without trying to throw stones back. Does that make any sense?
Yeah. And that, look, that I see that, and that's why I'm glad me kind of all my videos and my channel is gone, because yes, as I said, I will. I'm not the kind of woman that like is going, like, if you're gonna scream in my face like civil liberties and religious equality for all, and then when I say to you, well, what about me as a Catholic in my own country? I'm not allowed to practice. Well, go F you and your pedo priests. Yeah, and then you keep coming into my face. Yeah, I'm gonna react like, in that way back. So if you're not like that to me, I'm not gonna react that way back. So most of my videos at the end, when you see Antifa, it's because I'm confronting them, or they're confronting me. And yes, sometimes it's a bit of a tussle. And that's why you see now on his channel, him promoting that on bad.
Bad, 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 bad.
On deep.
Bad.
I'm glad you've mentioned that and I'm glad it's rounding off the way it is so far, because we started with Simon that was talking about the correlation and the curve between all the different YouTubers. Do you know what I mean? How the involvement level, and you mentioned before on the beauty of this is that ultimately you all don't agree with maybe your content and how you feel and political stuff, but we're all human, no one is, and I love that about it. It's that you can all sit there and look at the wrongs and have your shared truths. That's all we want to get to here. But you spoke about that curve coming round on you here now, and it's just uncanny how the similarity thing comes into it again. You understand what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, at this point, Lady Jane, I've probably not introduced and had a proper chat with you, I'm afraid, because we've been just multifaceted. I'd like to welcome you on. Thank you very much for your time. If you could explain your position, probably same again, how you started on YouTube, what made you, what your feelings and thoughts was, how maybe this collaboration come round, and how do you fit into it generally, and what do you regard as the landscape at the moment?
Hi Phil. Well, I came onto YouTube watching videos, and then found Speaker's Corner myself, videos and things like that. Then followed people on their channels, but that's I found Tommy. I think it was Tommy actually, where I found Speaker's Corner, Tommy Robinson. But my thing in all this is with a so-called said person. When he came about, he was bullying women and making up lies about people. So I started like clipping what he was saying and putting it up.
Right.
The threats that he was making for the women, I mean, like the up teen women that he's bullied online and now getting other people to bully. And there's men as well. It's not just. So now I'm the big bad wolf. I'm the big bully that bullies this said person.
Shell
So,
archives. Sorry to interrupt, but she archives. She literally just clips and puts whole sections up. She doesn't edit, so there's no opinion. She's literally like a library.
Right.
And so she's become like the worst enemy of them all.
Okay, all that sounds like, if you're not even putting an opinion on it, you're literally reflecting the information. You know what I mean? It's like putting a mirror and showing them for what they are. You're not actually saying anything. And for somebody else showing them for who they are to another force without them being the ones that have got to be the victors in this. That is damaging. I was on a chat earlier today where we were talking about narcissists and psychopaths. Fucking hate empaths.
You know, but they won't come here because they know you guys are all fucking empaths. Psychopaths are terrified of empaths. They fucking hate them. And narcissists as well, you know what I mean?
We hate people that want to do the right thing. And I think there's an element of that with this, that people, these narcissists and psychopaths, the way they go about themselves, you can't answer to very low grade activity and behavior, even in humanity and community, never mind online, where the damages, the repercussions, and the insightful behavior it brings on is off the fucking chart. Sorry for swearing, but I'm sorry.
Sorry, Phil. Can I just say something? Like while you're talking about that, because look, most we come on here, right? Yes, obviously, like myself and Shell, right? We'd have some political kind of interest, but like we came on here for fun, and like hit that Wi-Fi and it's off and not lose sleep. Now it's getting serious, and I feel it is gonna get out of hand and off the internet. Death threats are being made to all of us, and this thing is allowing it, and it's being reported, mass reported, but yeah, he's still there. It makes no sense to me. So he's threatening our kids and us, and he has a vile little thing and using him too, and I don't understand it. Now it's starting to affect my sleep. I'm starting to worry, do I need to, take precaution because of this? And I don't know how anybody else feels about that, but I know I am.
It's getting out of hand what's going on that
channel. I've dreamt about it, and when I dream about something, sorry, come on. BATZ is backstage, if you want to.
It's basically just putting people in danger. Like for me, he started threatening me to have my children taken off me by the Snatch Squad, him and his mum, saying that I'm an unfit mother and I'm drunk and I don't feed my kids, things like that. When we did realise that my children are adults, he then started saying that I was threatening my sons with his sons, who then are autistic children, but I didn't. He just he threatens you, but then plays the victim off the back of it.
Yes. A common tactic, I must say, as well.
Yeah. So now he's actually gone and told everyone on YouTube that I smoke drugs in front of my kids, and my son sell drugs to 11-year-olds at schools.
All this is a pattern of constant hand grenades all the time, isn't it? As soon as you say him again, it sounds like what you've done is showing a bit of light, not even fought back. You know what I mean? Just showing them for what they are, you get more, which, same again, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 people here. There's multiple others that probably wanted to be involved in this, maybe didn't.
There's about 14 of us, maybe more than 14.
Crazy.
So there's about 12 women that he's threatened, you know what I mean? There could be more women.
And then
a lot of people are scared to talk out. A lot of people are scared to say anything because the trolling is relentless. The threats are relentless. Like you couldn't even imagine it. You couldn't make it up that someone would go out their way to do the things these people do.
Yeah. Yeah. The ease of just going real world and damaging people without any justification. And I think it picks up on what you were saying earlier. People are going to be frightened about speaking up about this. Let's put it one stage further. This is happening to probably what you say, just under 20 YouTubers that are speaking up about this and posting. All the subbers to them said channels, they've all got avatars, they've all got pages. Soon as they come up in a comment, they're in the fight. They're going to be seen chalked on that board as cannon fodder to be then attacked. This, again, is going to be intimidating for anyone to go, I can see it's happening, it's wrong, but I dare not say anything. So that leaves a certain amount of people in this negative ping pong that Dolly Daydream, which is another YouTuber in the spiritual community, is having the same problems, the inner fights, the battles, and the tactics that are used to post online to draw people out and whatnot. You know, so I can understand the fear behind this because it is getting out of hand on so many different levels now. And that's what's weird, because in my journey doing this, I'm like, you guys started off wanting the truth. Now I just want to make music and be bleeding happy because I'm sick of this. But what ultimately I'm seeing is subscribers that are suffering, and the thought of real world, real life doxing, we're gone way beyond that when we're talking about when Cam is saying she's feeling for the security. You know, to me, if you've got sons that are of a certain age, then you're targeted because you're then using your sons as weapons. But your sons, on a rational counter to that, they're not going to sit back and watch you getting rinsed out online either. So,
the thing is, though, Phil, my sons don't actually know what's going on. They don't know about any of this. Do you know what I mean? So,
thank God.
I don't tell them what's going on. Do you know what I mean? The amount of times that he's slandered them or anything, because they would. Do you know, if he was closer, they would. They're my sons. Do you know what I mean? But he is slandering them online. My lads are good lads, Phil. They left school and they've got jobs since they were at school. The same job. Do you know what I mean? They've got families. You know, they're not doing anything. And I mean, and I certainly do not smoke drugs in front of them. But that channel is an anti-bully channel, anti-racism, and anti-pedos. He brands everybody a pedo. Even this lady BATZ, he branded her a pedo. Well, he tried to, you know, and it's just non-stop bully. I mean, there was a woman the other week who was, she nearly had a breakdown on the amount of times what he's done to her alone. I think you might know who I'm talking about.
I think he enjoys it, to be honest, Phil. I think he enjoys doing mental torture to women.
He's
seeing,
lying.
like, in pain. He enjoys it.
He's putting innocent people's pictures out that, I mean, 1 week you're such a name, and then he's telling everyone that's your name and where you're from. The next week you're another name. Do you know what I mean? He doesn't know what he's doing, and and I honestly thought when he got his own channel that he'd calm down, because he wanted to do autism and things like that. No, it's got worse. It's gonna get to the point that someone's gonna get seriously hurt. Do you know what I mean? Really, I mean, he told the police that I put his kids on Pornhub.
You know, I mean? One thing, a lot of people love drama, and it was crazy some of the things when you were on there, Cam, that people were loving it. He was loving the views of it, and people couldn't put, you know, there was something captivating about hearing that, but it's ultimately awful when you know, this is real life. This ain't a film. This ain't a parody or an angry parody. This is real world. You've invited someone in. You know what I mean? You're utilising their bereavement as a weapon against them, of course, and whatnot. And the way you celebrated it. It's the subbers. Well, let's talk about that for a little bit. Okay, try and divert a little bit. The energy of people that want it. What do you think's going on there? That see this as a game? Do they ultimately just adopt his theory that they dislike you? Have they got their own personal reasons so they latch onto his argument? Or are they just as narcissistic because they sat back rubbing their hands when all this is going on?
It's Jeremy Kyle on steroids.
Yeah.
Like Car Crash TV. It's like, oh, look at this.
a lot of the viewers, a lot of his numbers, they're not there because they like him. They're there just to see what he's coming out with next, because he comes out with some ridiculous claims like he's in an MI5 and MI5 jumped over his garden fence when he was with his family to recruit him to take out 5 families in London, the biggest families.
Yeah, I don't get why all this is still allowed.
So the people that are in his chat, those are the ones. You see, what he's doing is rounding up the people he's trying to discredit, or the people that have called him out online. Do you know what I mean? So, the people that are actually in the chat or anything, they're the people that have they're like enemies to these people, to us, any of us, or anything. But then, do you know what I mean? But that's it. Do you know what I mean? The rest of them are just there to just laugh at him. Do you know what I mean? Because he's a joke with the lies he's coming out in his stories. Do you know what I mean? So, I mean, he thinks he's the fastest growing YouTube channel in the world ever. And the other week he put out his YouTube. I'll give it, because he's the fastest channel growing. He's getting a PlayStation 5 from YouTube.
Oh, I missed that.
This honest to God, Phil.
His rise, can he not see his rise is ultimately for his demise? Because the likes and the dislikes surely will show why you're building what you regard as popularity, but it's not. It's notoriety. There is a difference, isn't there?
Yeah, but I think he wants to be infamous. He doesn't care. That's the disturbing thing, Phil. And then the people on the panel with him are equally disturbed, if not a little bit more.
Yeah.
So it's kind of scary that it's like, okay, because listen, I don't usually take death threats like stuff like that, because it's the internet, you know, but I have to take this one kind of serious, because it's in my own back garden, and they publicly admitted they were Antifa, Irish Antifa, and proud in his chat, and went for an autistic, disabled, ADHD. The girl has a lot going on, and she called them out in the chat, and they all went for her. Like even my troll, even my troll Cam Dub went for her, you know, and it's like, wow. You say you're for this, but yet you're attacking what you're saying you're for, which to me is a perfect description of the left in Ireland. Anyway, you know, they say they're for one thing, but they do the opposite.
It's not even a wolf in sheep's clothing, is it? It's far more than that. In reality, with what is actually going on, they're masquerading as virtuous people and actually quelling you on a miscategorized perception of all of us. We're all in this boat. We're all susceptible to this. But then with the justification of them actions, and even people in real world that are virtuous, they must look at this and go, well, even if I don't know anything about, I mean, this is the reaction of me. I don't know the political ideologies of any of these people, but ultimately I'm siding with them, because what you've done there is absolutely horrible. You cannot do that just to support your own political ideology and then say that we're doing this for the right reasons. If this was to become trendy and the norm, then what is the point of going online? I might as well sit and watch BBC all day.
And unfortunately, Phil, I that's what I fear, because, like, as I said, like, you know, going on far now, I said, like, I remember writing a post on Facebook, like, if if they take away our laughter, like, you know, what we can laugh at, because we're talking about, like, only fools and horses, you know, and all this, right? And I was like, you know, I said, that's the first sign. I said, like, that's what Hitler done. You know, I said he got rid of all the comedians. We were not allowed to laugh. I said, and if free speech is next, I said, we're done for. And I seen it coming, and I was like, wow. But over here, as I said, Phil, I'm not afraid of somebody that's like willing to give me like a fair scrap, right? And like they say, listen, this is why I dislike you, because, okay, they say I don't want, like, okay, right? I never said I don't want any immigrants, right? I said, if you have love for my country, you work hard in my country, you contribute to my country, you're all welcome. Okay? But I do not want to be a minority in my country. And there's 16,000 in Dublin alone, ethnic native Irish people, homeless. They have to wait 20 years before they're housed, right? And this is down to the left, right? So it's like you're saying that you're for everybody, but yet that's not including your own people. But yet that's not including your own people. So when I say stuff like that and I give facts, and people that like obviously aren't in, politically any way informed, when I give them actual facts, they're like, oh, I didn't know that. And it's like, oh, I know you didn't know that, but that's because you do not but listen to them. So they have like the whole market, like from the media, the newspaper, everything. And they just brand us far right, far right, far right. I'm not far right, Phil. I'm far from far right. I'm centre and I'm right leaning. I used to be liberal. I vote for gay. I have gay people. I have good mates that are gay. But
No,
yeah, I'm branded homophobic.
I'm with Cam. I really do. In my journey doing this, everyone that's been branded far right that I've discovered, the more centralist, they've just joined an argument that it's a legitimate argument that's put them in a paradigm. And psychologically, they've been kept there. They've been able to be wept. One thing I will say that I loved, and I'd love you to explain it, whether it's just a regular term you use. In one of your retorts to this individual who was, as far as I was concerned, pissed off at Ed, right? But one of you actually said, "You absolute weapon."
You don't even know me, you fucking weapon, you.
And I you dropped it with your accent, but what you actually said. Can you explain what you mean by that, or is that just a regular thing you just use?
No, like a weapon, like, okay, like, so we know like a weapon can be used dangerously, right? And it can be ugly too. So she is, his ugly ass weapon, like to use against me. So that's what it is. Like, so you're just a weapon. You're nothing more, nothing less.
Yeah, beautiful. Explains it all. Explains what's actually going on. The manipulation, exploitation. What I did notice when I heard, and the guy that was running the stream steer what seemed like his panel member that was drunk with mistruths. In reality, even she wasn't drunk enough to take that on board, because she quickly then said, I made death threats as well.
I will fucking kill that bitch if I get an opportunity to hit her in the face or something like that. She is a bad, bad person.
Right? So when she done that, I thought to myself, you know what? You were trying to brainwash someone that was heavily inebriated.
That's why I let her rant on a little bit, did me? And now she's made death threats to you. Live online. She has made death threats to you live online. Yes.
Yeah.
Into reacting on what is a falseness about that little confrontation we've just seen there. You were trying to weaponize her.
I've got it recorded. Yeah.
And I've apparently made death threats towards her, so.
Well, I didn't hear that. I didn't say who you was going to kill her. She said she was going to kill you tonight.
Because he was encouraging. You can have it.
And he's very good at that. Very, very, very good
I
at
heard
that.
it online. I couldn't believe it. And that was directly against you, Cam. So I don't know whether you got onto that, but what your thoughts on that was.
Oh, listen, you see, I had been listening before that. He had told her, right? I had threatened my 5 brothers, which is a lie, right? I didn't. I said, and I don't have 5 brothers in London, right? I had 3, and yes, one of my brothers died, and that's why they were going at me. And I had kind of backed off for a little bit, and I came back, and this weapon was on. So I was like, oh, okay. So yeah, like he told her, I said about his kids, that I said, like, not only threatened me 5 brothers, because one died. So I only have 5 left. And he keeps saying, like, they're getting smaller. So, okay, all right. And I slagged his autistic kids and that I'm making 600 videos on him. Phil, I have never made a video on this man. Right? All I did was make a video about what's going on in my country. Nothing to do with this man at all. Shell just clips him and mirrors it back. Boom. That's it.
Yeah.
No, and he told her that he got the police to delete, that they got us to delete 600 videos that night. And she believed him. And then she went into the tirade about me, like, boom. So yeah, like I don't know this woman, you know what I mean? Like personally, I don't know this woman personally, but yes, she has a vendetta for me. She has a hatred for me, what I stand for, or what she thinks I stand for. And because I'm a Catholic and I display my faith, but she has no problem with any other religion, any other religion.
But this is what we're talking about, the mirroring of what's going on here. They want to, you know...
I mean, we've missed one thing.
Your political views, whatever, which is the direct opposite of what they're proclaiming. They're proclaiming to be the good in society. Well, by doing a violent act, by doxing people, by going real world just to eradicate these thoughts of like, you don't want to live in a world like that. So ultimately, you've shown what you're about with the very act you're doing. Do you understand what I mean?
Yep. Sorry, and that's what she's saying. Like, her point is that it's okay to put my family in danger because I'm far right and I want Ireland for the Irish.
Yeah.
And, you know, all that jazz. That's what she says. That's what she says is her main motive. Which is not. It's really not. It's really not. She has some sort of hatred.
Well, it's a subliminal justification, isn't it? If I can weaponize these people, put them in a particular box, then if I say, well, you know what, we should be banning these people. We all want a liberal world. We all want everyone that's going to be fair. But yet these people are targeted as Islamophobes, as these, as that. So I'm going to be putting my hand up and go, yeah, zap them off. Like, you know what I'm saying? And you can't do that falsely to anyone. We all want freedom of speech. We all want a line in the sand with what you can say out of decency anyway for another human being.
But as Simon said, though, like, there's free speech, and like when you say, like, so they say, like, oh, you're an absolute free speech, like, you're for like free speech, aren't you? And I say, well, actually, no, I'm not. I'm not like an absolute free speech. I said, because it turns very quickly into hate speech, and you can't seem to differentiate between the two, me. So, no, I'm not. You know, and yes, I see it all the time. I see it all the time. Yeah, but you're for free speech, aren't you? Yeah, well, then you're a scumbag far-right Nazi. No, that's not free speech. That's hate speech, but that is not a hate crime for me.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, how does that work? Make it make sense to me. So because I'm on one side, it doesn't matter. But if I was on that other side, oh, Jesus. Oh, everybody would back me. So it's just showing the hypocrisy and lunacy that is the left.
Well, now thank you for saying that, because you've just put me right where I need to be with the next thing I'm going to say. How do you feel now looking back? Because you've kind of what you've done there. You were central anyway. You've steered over to the right because of the lunacy. Now you're looking back with the glasses that you've got, with the journey that you've been on. What do you articulate as what you see with the left?
No, look, you see, there is some, okay lefts, but they're going to be eaten up, like in their centre left, right? They're going to be eaten up by this, like, big cornucopia of, amalgamated parties of left, like from Marxism to socialism, and it's just a shit show, to be honest.
They are being radicalised, yeah.
Yeah, you know, and it's like
Yeah.
you see how passionate they, and it's like you have no clue what you're fighting for. You really don't.
Yeah.
You are the fascist. What you have set out to destroy, you have become. So when I look back and I say, how was I ever there? How? How did I ever think that was okay? Because I was hurt. I was hurt. And you see, I came back to my faith. And that's not for everybody. I understand that. And I wouldn't implement it or force it on anybody. But it has, for me, it's like a safety blanket. And it's like, wow. Because the degeneracy, right, and lunacy of the left, it's just like, what? So what is right is wrong, and what is wrong is right. And if nobody stands up to it, it's just going to ramroll everything.
Well,
But people are afraid.
Going back to the fear and intimidation, one of the ladies said before, people are scared. There'll be an element of that within the left as well, won't there? That people will be seeing the radicalisation down the road. They're looking at everything that's been politicised and the over-aggressive Marxist tactics. You know what I mean? But they'll be scared. I was at a march with Black Lives Matter and we're not there, but I unwittingly went to follow march, realised it was Black Lives Matter and Extinction Rebellion, basically Labour. The things that they were talking about.
The other thing I heard that was quite troubling is that one of the speakers literally said, fuck capitalism. Fuck capitalism. It's fair enough. I use my bit of French. There is kids here of all shapes and sizes, all colours, all creeds, all genders, whatever. Yeah. But literally, F capitalism. Do you really want to do that? Is it not capitalism that got your ass here in the first place?
It's act like when you get right, like it's weird, right? Because it's kind of like that pack mentality, right?
Yeah.
And you know, you can sense it because, like as I said, they corralled us in on like the quay, right? So we're outside Custom House. There's 20,000 of us, and like there's about maybe 1,000 of them little side boys, and mostly women. This is the thing, Phil. Like they're young, so they're recruiting from colleges, right? And they're brainwashing these. Like it's in all the colleges and the schools.
Yeah.
And I call them MIPPIes because they're middle class hippies. And they've never had a hard day. They don't know what it's like, but they think they do. And you know, they're the ones that are so passionate, and will, like, I'm not messing. I've seen 3 of them jump on one woman. So it's like, you bunch of wrong'uns.
Radicalization. When you know that where their life is born from is our beautiful capitalist system that is flawed in many ways, but has given us all the riches that we know and love and don't want to change because we can see what socialism is all about. We can see what communism is all about. But
where has that worked once, Phil? Can you tell me where that, like, look at Venezuela. I mean, like, for Jesus, man, like it's nearly like a bar of gold to buy a bit of bread over there. They're eating out of dumpsters. They can't afford food.
Yeah.
Their money means nothing, nada. That is socialism.
Yeah.
But these twats here have everything, Phil. Everything that I didn't even have 20 years ago. But because they have everything, we're at the breeding soya boys, weak people.
Decadence.
And now they're the ones that are telling people that don't have anything, we know what's best for you.
Not only are you spewing that crap in the middle of the street, and freedom of speech, it's up to them, but it's a wolf in sheep's clothing thing. You're being virtuous, but then you want to rip down the nucleus family and you want to, you know, rip up capitalism. You're talking to all kinds of age groups within there But the very college students that you're brainwashing this into, they will then go home and hate their parents who are business owners within this capitalist system.
Yeah, exactly. That's the weird thing. It's like, but doesn't your mommy and daddy like owned like a posh shop in in Donnybrook? Like, what's going to happen to your shop in Donnybrook?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's going to sink. And then you posh boy, you're going to know all about it. But they won't, because, as I said, the political parties that have weaponized these fools, because you can't fix stupid. And the stupid ones are the dangerous ones. They're easy weapons, very, very easy weapons. Ramp them up, get them into a little crowd, and you like pack mentality. Get them amped up,
and they're always
ready to go.
They're always middle class and posh. They're not working
Yes,
class.
that's what I'm saying, Simon.
Yeah.
They're never working class, and the working class they're either ex-drug takers or they're like her, drunk and tablet abuser, all that crap, or they're doing it for the money. For the money.
Yeah. Well, that brings on to a good point here. Professional agitation and spikes. It's weird that you've got that concept when it's contributing to ripping down society. Going back to what you were saying before, Cam, about you just don't understand why these people do it when you can see the overt consequences of this. Where we're going to be if you look 20 years down the line with this. Do you want to be queuing up for basic materials, basic food? You know what I mean? And we're all living on a poor poverty baseline. Is that the system we want in order to sort everybody out in the world? You lose thinking, you lose ingenuity, you lose mojo.
Yes, and we'll be all, but one thing, but at least we'll all be the same, Phil. At least we'll all be the same. Okay, yeah, we'll be all the same, starving.
Yeah.
With a stamp book, queuing outside saying, "Can I have a bread?" There's no bread left. Yeah. Come back tomorrow. Okay, that sounds really great to me. No, it doesn't. And I love my country, and I don't want. I fear for it, because look at Europe, right? And it scares me. We're a small little country. We can't look after the world. We can't help even another country. So, for fuck's sake, we can't even take back the 6 counties because it's too expensive for us. But yet we're going to help the whole world. Where is this coming from? Where's the money coming from? And who's going to pay it back? Because we're paying back 43% of the European debt for that bank bailout in 2008. 43%, and that's only paying. It's only paying the interest. It's not even making a dent.
Yeah, debt slaves.
So they've taken a pension.
Well, with a debt slave system like that, you can control any country and steer them. Inflate, contract. You do what you want. You can see that. Now, one thing I will ask, because I'm enjoying this, and then I'd love BATZ and Lady Jade to get in on whatever they want to talk about as well. But can you see that now with what they're doing, going back to the wolf in sheep's clothing, instead of making a more diverse world, they're saying that far-right politics and racism is on the rise. Can you see that the way they're going about it? In fact, you could argue that they're the ones creating all this.
They have, Phil, because like at the start, like through the fog, you don't really see it, right? And you see what they're doing, but it's like it's dead. The smoke is all there, and you can just see them in the black. They've came out now, right? Because they've won, so they're not hiding anymore in Ireland, anyway. They're not hiding anymore. So if you don't get with the program, you will be ousted. So to me, as I said, they've switched roles or switched caps. Basically, they've shown the real face. They are the real fascists.
Yeah.
Because not one TD who was considered centre right was allowed on to debate was not allowed shown on any like advertisement in the paper, on the buses, nothing. Why? The left were going spazzy mad, ripping down posters, which you're not allowed to do. It's illegal, but they were openly doing it, and these are like some of the top parties, and openly bragging. So yeah, it's like you have become what you set out to destroy.
Imagine if
So
the right was to do that. Imagine the ammunition the left would say. That would fuel the dictatorship. That would fuel all kinds of allegations.
yeah. And the see thing is that they're hypocrites, like, you know what I mean? It's one rule for, you know, me, but another for they. Like, so I was like, okay. So we have to follow everything you say, but you don't. Again, how does that make sense? But apparently it does. Apparently it does, you know. So yes, a lot of people are afraid to say that they're even center right, you know. They'll say, oh yeah, you know, they won't say anything. They won't even say who they vote for.
Ali, do you want to say a few words? I'm on live.
I will say a few words. What's happening in Ireland today is absolutely disgraceful, people. We are being treated like
Get in off the road, Ali.
criminals, literally criminals in our own country. All we're doing is trying to fight the lockdown, the fake laws that they're bringing in. They're not upholding the constitution. The guards, we need to cross bridge. The guards threatened to arrest me for absolutely no reason. I was only holding up the constitution.
Watch the car.
That the men of Ireland fought for. They fought really hard back in the day in 1916 to get us to the freedom we have now. Sorry, I don't want to get her off the car. But the whole idea is to put in a riot squad to remove all the protesters away from the court, so that media could have that on television tonight on RT News to make us look like far right. We're right, we're not far right, and we're fighting for the rights of the children in Ireland.
I'd rather be far right than far wrong, would you?
Every one of you. But you know something, they're letting us down, people, because not enough of you are coming out. We need so much more people to stand up for the tyranny.
That's how it's getting intense.
But yet you can clearly support Extinction Rebellion, Antifa, you can put all that. And this is what we can't understand, isn't it?
That's what boggles my mind. It's like, you're allowed to be proud of that, but I can't say I'm proud of my party. No, that don't work. Okay. No, so basically they're allowed to jump around and shout and do everything, but we have to sit there and shut up and like it.
The image of sticks, black hoodies, balaclavas, that tells you everything you need to know. When they're prepared to hit a march and castigate all of them with the same tired mentality, no matter what the age group, there's no common sense applied. Well, they seem all right, but you know what? They look a bit wrong. Even that's a wrong thing to be that judgmental, but they go way beyond that. They literally condemn everyone there, and it's too overt to actually make sense why they do that. But yet, within this contained, like you say, liberalist system that everyone's targeted with, they've been able to keep you in that negative box, whether you vote a certain way, Brexit, this, that, and the other, you get swapped around. Either way, you're condemned for it, and you're allowed to be cannon fodder. And what you guys are now realizing is that your online lifestyle rubs off into real life because of it. And that demonization will follow you, whether it's through narcissism, whether it's through organic, whether it's through professional agitation. Who knows? There's elements.
Well, they've threatened that I'll never walk again, you know, like, and that I was going to go to basically like the anti-riot squad and all them. Like, you are nothing but a weapon, and a dangerous one at that.
Yeah.
Can I just tell how I ended up in this position? It started as I was just making really sort of low quality, funny videos, and it was his own words. I was just adding funny clips over his own words. Basically, I take whatever show I clipped, and I'd just add a funny picture on top. And it was all show to sort of give him somewhat of a reality check. Like, you know, sometimes when you hear yourself back and you think, God, did I really say that?
Sure.
And I kind of thought that would sort of
halt him a bit.
They weren't, yeah, they weren't malicious. They were just funny. It was literally just poking fun. And then me and Shell got accused, Lady Jane, we got accused of being behind an account that had his wife's picture up and his wife's name. And we had nothing to do with that. We've since come to sort of think it's someone that's working with him that was behind that account because of the actions that had happened after. So
that's a full flag offender.
Yeah, pretty much. He kept accusing me. So that's when I said, no, I've got to make contact with this guy because that's not how I operate. I don't, you know, if I'm going to wind you up, I'm winding you up. I'm not going to bring your kids, your wife, and this and that into it. And I was warned by a lot of people, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. And I was like, well, do you know what? I'm going to do it because I know I can, well, I thought I could handle it, which to an extent I can, but it's now got out of control. And it, like Cam said, it starts to affect your personal life. I've got young kids. I've got a baby who's just turned 1. Do you know what I mean? Like it is sort of affecting my life in a way that, and it's not a positive sort of thing. Like it's become more of a, I'm going to open YouTube. What comments am I going to see now?
Sure.
So I didn't.
I'm sure it gets to the point. I'm sorry to butt in there, but I'm sure the way things are now, with whatever you guys say, you know what's going to come back at you. You know it. You could talk about something else and totally make it as positive as possible. It's like that's never going to change in a sense. You've got to fight your way through that constantly. One thing I will ask, though, BATZ, have you took this to the authorities? And maybe Cam as well. But
do you know what? I did try. I did try.
Right.
And I was dismissed on the phone. And I mean, I'm not being funny. I was distraught on the phone. And I hate to admit it. I was actually crying. And I'm not one for crying. The officer was like, oh, why don't you just block him? Why don't you just this? And I'm like, do you not hear that? Like, even if I ignore him, he still mentions my name. He still slanders my name. He still allows people on his panel and in his chats to have pictures of my dead nan, my dead dad, my son, my daughter, my ex-partner.
Their names.
Do you get what I mean? Their names.
Yeah.
Yesterday, the latest was my mum's postcode was doxed, so therefore they automatically assume that I'm probably living at my mum's, or they're going to put out my mum's address.
I mean, I'm sorry to butt in here again, BATZ, but what is crazy here? You're saying this to a police officer.
Yeah.
The terminology, malicious communications, it's ambiguous, but semantically, it's very succinct. It's beautiful. Now, what you just explained to me there covers malicious communications before you've even finished the sentence. Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah,
so me as a police officer, why am
I'm telling them that I'm being attacked because of my sexuality. And they're like, yeah, okay, block him. And I'm sitting there thinking, I'm crying here. And I'm telling you, these people are causing me distress. Like, you could hear I was actually really stressed out. And, you know, Shell and Cam and Simon, I think I went to Shell once and said to her, Shell, do I need to send my boy to go stay with my ex? You know, it was getting to a stage where I was worried about what they're going to do next. And it is because I won't back down. I really don't want to back down from it. Because I said, I've started this, I'm going to see it through, kind of thing.
What I will say is, though, there's no shame in realising that that is negative energy that you don't need in your life. There's no shame in that at all. Anyone,
I get
even
what you're saying.
Negative shit on here, I'm like, you know what? I don't need that. I'm not. What did he say?
The thing is, Phil, we didn't start
Phil,
it,
no one's
but sure
calling
as
it
fuck
out.
I'm gonna finish it.
No one's calling it out. No one's taking a stand. All right, we are, and a fair few other people are, but if we don't do it, you just
Nobody
sort of
else
give
will.
them a power to do whatever they want. So I will admit, I did put myself in a direct line of fire, and I thought to myself, damn, if it was a woman who wasn't in my position, who perhaps did have something to worry about.
He's claimed, this is what's funny, he's claimed another woman, Chartel is her name. He claimed that Chartel drugged him, or he didn't remember what happened, and stuck a butt plug up his arse, butt plugged by a female. That's how much of a dickhead he is. He claimed he was drugged and butt plugged by a female.
Because I was getting, listen, the first accusation I got was there is sexual abuse in my house.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm going to send Snatch Squad. You better get a barrister, sharpish, because you're a junkie. We're going to have your kids taken off you and all sorts. Simon, and he didn't know me at the time, bless him. And I do owe, and the girls, like Shell and Cam, have been there through everything. Simon was the first to call it out. He was like, what are you doing to this girl? Like, what are you saying to this girl? And he was...
It's because it was all plainly evidenced by your evidence. Plainly evidenced. Screenshots for everything.
Even before I'd sent you that, Simon, you sent me a clip from ages ago and you said to me, look what I found. And I was like, wow.
Yeah.
So when I tried to jump on his live, he started going all silent and...
Yeah, he torments her. He torments her. I mean, like, he torments her, like, from phone calls. Like, he used to be calling her and sending her text messages and saying vile things about her, right? And yeah, I mean, I could have stepped back, right? And yeah, it was like, all right, Cam, you can either intervene here, and yeah, you know the shit is gonna fly. And as I do say to Bass, like, yeah, listen, I can wipe her off and clean myself, but like there's still going to be a smell of Benji out me on some parts. And people, you know, that's referred to people. Well, they just walked in on that part and heard that, and they're just going to, well, you know, I heard that. Well, I'm only saying I hear to hear about you. So they'll always have that. So I understand with that. And as I said, look, I can't, because yeah, nobody was. It was like, what is wrong with people? Why is this allowed?
Yeah.
Right? And like when Simon did, yeah, Simon got unmerciful, and I was like, oh wow, you know. And at that time, I wasn't like kind of friends with Simon, you know what I mean? But I don't go that low. It was disgusting and vile, and I was like, that has to hurt. And it's like, you're scum for that. So yeah, it was like, all right, we have to intervene here. But since we did, yes. It's always been us now. It's us and poor Simon.
It's the discussion, isn't it? You do find that doing this, if you want to follow it through, you're going to have to be a pincushion to a certain degree. Some people say thick skin, but I'd say with what I've seen here, I could never say to you guys, you just need to thicken your skin here, because the blows that are being administered here, there's no skin thick enough for anyone to tolerate this. This is wrong, and it does need totally shining a light on it and exposing it for what it is. And same again, I've got the utmost respect for all of you in what you're doing, the way you're going about it, and the fact that you're still there, you know, acknowledging it, going through your lows with it, but still having that fight in the spirit. Very commendable. Although I think you're mad, but very commendable. The one good thing that seems to be prevalent with everything and covering with the different genres is that the collaborations that form, you know, like you guys, now you're all noticing that you might not all be in the right genres and whatnot, but you ultimately are getting together on one key point. That is powerful, and I think that is what will frighten them a lot, regardless of your posting. Just the fact that you're still there together on it, and it's probably going to grow. And I'll support you all the way as well. And when this comes on my channel, you know what I mean, you're going to have more people who will be prepared to see this and go, right, well, if I see anything going on, I support that, you know.
There's right and there's wrong, and I don't mean that in the political kind of like, oh, I'm not far right, I'm just right. I don't mean in that cliched way. but people see what is right and what is wrong.
Yeah, and it's fighting against that, isn't it?
Yeah, I'll take a punch for anyone if I believe they're being abused.
There you go, and that's it, right? It's like you know this is so wrong on so many levels, and yet you're gonna sit there, not only co-sign it, you're gonna sit there and add to it just because you don't like the person.
And he sucks people in to participate and to join in the attacks on purpose.
He's now joining the Americans, yeah.
Oh yeah, and they're blinded by it. They can't see what's right. And I'm like thinking, are you not stupid? Do you not see what this guy does? Forget us. Take us out of the equation, because like I keep saying to everyone, we're just the tip of the iceberg. There's so many more, and so many other people who have gone through far worse with this guy, and they don't want to be online anymore. They're too scared. Wherever they go, they get attacked. And it's sad. It is really, really sad.
Disruptive.
Oh yeah, definitely, it is toxic. But he encourages it. He goads the people to do his dirty work.
And they're a lot younger than him as well. There's people that are doing it for him. Like one's 20 years old, one's nearly 24.
And they always seem to have some sort of problem. Let's put it that way. So you can manipulate them then through that. You know what I mean?
Shine like a diamond.
There you go. That's what I'm saying, right? So it's like he finds what their weakness is and he plays to it, and then boom, manipulates them. And it's like, oh my good Jesus, wow.
So he's in both sides. Literally sat in the middle and loving it.
Yes. Oh, yes, he is, and that's why I say he's very sado. He's very like a sado.
Yeah,
What he does to you. The person that was his co-panelist, he weaponized her with trying to entice her, try to bend the perception that, you know what, I've used this footage because look what she's doing to you. Look what she's doing to you. He weaponized you by saying in the beginning.
You missed something out with that. You missed out the fact that his other co-host, who is I really don't want to swear, Phil, so I'm just going to bite my tongue, right? He's the one that's behind a lot of the disgusting accounts, and he said vile things about Cam's brother when he just passed. I mean, I think she'd just buried him, and he was saying the most vile things. He was actively seeking Cam's opposition because he had some sort of issue with Cam. So he was actively seeking her opposition to find information about her, to expose her picture, put her video out, to find her name. Yeah, he gets other people to do his dirty work.
Thank you for laying that out, because that'll bring me to another point. That's just another tactic, because you have mentioned about this guy several times and how weaponized. You've got to appreciate, probably put a thought in the head. What's his role? What's his motivation? Is he grooming, or is he being groomed himself? This is all one big puss, isn't it?
He's grooming them.
He's grooming them, Phil. That's what I'm saying. He finds, as I said, they have some sort of problem, right? And then I can relate to that, yeah. And then from there, breaks down the wall and builds up this fake trust with them. And then, boom, weaponized. You see, I'm getting attacked, yeah. And then they take it upon themselves. They don't realize that it's actually him making them. They think, oh, this is all on me. I'm doing it for him, but this is coming from me. No. He's sitting there filling their head full of crap. Yeah. And I mean absolute crap.
He's also in information of people, but he isn't actually fact checking anything. Yeah. You tell him a name, you've always say about Cam's name, blah blah blah. Now he will tell everybody out live that is what she is. Whatever I tell him, he will put it out as it's true. He's not. He's that's how dangerous he is.
Like we done with the email, Phil.
Put out anybody's proper name because he's not that good enough at doing it, and team, whatever. But what they are doing is then putting out innocent people's pictures and names and their kids out online that aren't any of us. Do you know what I mean? That's what he's doing. He's just getting dangerous.
So that's another level to it. Whether he knows it or he's doing it on purpose, either way, there are innocent people that are being.
And if you go to the police, so the women that have he's attacked. If any of us go to the police as well, then he gets our names through the police.
It's been leaked. Yeah.
And that's what he wants. He puts his address out every day where his kids are. Everything, come step to me, you know, telling everyone to come and do, because he wants you to go to his house to start. So then, do you know what I mean? Like every little thing, he's running to the police station every day, everywhere. Do you know what I mean? I mean, he's told police I've done all sorts to him. Do you know? And I haven't. All I've done is clip videos. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he's very dangerous with what he's putting out. And then, like I say, with Cam, he said he had like other 5 voice messages and all this. None of it was true. None of it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But he's still running with it now. He'll still run with this story tomorrow. Even though
you see, that's what disturbs me, Phil, right?
And
even when, like, Baffery done a video to provide the evidence that it came from myself and Baffery. It's still, who is far right Cam? Kimberly and Murphy. It's like, are you really that tick, or are you just running because you got that many views on my name that night? I don't know which one it is. I'm tossing.
You know what I find with YouTube, and people say this to me, sometimes I don't want to research. I want someone to do the research for me. I don't want someone just to lay it out, you know, within a video. And we all know the attention span of some people. So, you know, the optimum time they say is get it under 10 minutes and you'll get people's attention. When you've got a population of people like that are not almost switching off and letting other people do the work, we're ultimately all susceptible if we're not reading behind what the person's presenting. You've got to just take it as read. So when they're doing what they're doing, and they know that what they're doing has got a malicious element to it, but yet the people that are watching it will just buy into it, suck it in, and that becomes their reality to go out on you, then he has got to be shown to be doing what he's doing is wrong, hasn't he? It's not unfair to say, listen, I'm not in one for infighting. How can you go about doing this knowing that not only you're causing damage to the YouTubers that you're doing this online to, but to the people that you're telling as well, because you're radicalizing them. There's no win in this.
Hey, and they hate us. They don't know us. They hate us. Why? Because of what he says we've done to him. And it's like, oh, you are the aggressor. You are the antagonizer. And you are the shit stirrer. He's a habitual liar and a dangerous one.
And he's always bringing his kids and wife into it as well. He plays on them as well, the victim. Do you know what I mean? Like he's apparently he's got 3 severely autistic children, but they change ages.
Yeah, it went from 2 to 3.
When he said to it, when he was pointing out online that I'd threatened his sons with my sons, his autistic sons, he said, severely disabled ones. We always thought he was on about his little ones. So I asked him, what age are you? You know, and then he told me it was the was it 3 eldest ones who have got it. So it was to fit his narrative with him.
The 2 eldest ones. He said the 2 youngest first, and then when talking to you, Shell, about your sons, he said the 2 eldest ones after he threatened them with you.
He switches it. There's times when he says he's got 2. Do you know what I mean? Then he just switches it all around.
That's what he is. A fantasist.
Do you know what I mean? He lies.
Pathological lying that will just maneuver within that. You know what I mean? Because if he's got to keep you as the villain, as this, and then all he's going to do is switch the truth to make it that case all the time. But like you say, people with common sense can surely see that this guy is just pathologically lying and giving mistruths, that he's dangerous to the people, but then brainwashing and grooming other people to hate, which is the opposite of the left mentality and the diversity. They're actually weaponizing. They're actually causing more radicalization. They're causing more racism because they're dragging everyone into it.
Yeah, and they're calling everybody a racist. Everyone's a paedophile. Do you know what I mean? It's not right.
Princess.
Because someone's got views, you know what I mean?
A certain person is the best advert ever for the FMATs, ironically.
Yes.
Which is something I've done nothing but fight for 2 years.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's
weird.
weird.
Itself, there's got so much hatred within it. And same again, I guess we've all gone down that journey. We ask questions. There is a path that leads to that, and everyone's got their own cut-off of where they stand within it all. And going back to what you said before, Cam, when I was leading to the road, it took me to an FNAT position in the mind of an FNAT. I soon realised that that's my line in the sand. I ain't that way inclined. I ain't about the number 14, the 14.
Oh, God.
The hatred that comes with that. So I literally recoiled, dying, back to a central position. So that's why I asked you the question. When you're looking back now, you're thinking, man, because these guys are predominantly seen as the far right with their mentality, but their tactics, the way they go about it, and their overall vibe is not too different from what you regard as the far left. So you're kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place, where they're both fueling each other as well.
What he tried starting a few weeks back, there was a pig's head sent to his house, and his children had opened this pig's head, blah blah. Now the police come. He did blame it on an online person at first, who he's been trying to get. He tells people he's threatened to rape his children and wives, and he then came online with the story in the video, and then started with the Muslims to go after certain YouTubers, that it was a racial attack. Do you know what I mean?
Sounds like he's trying to get a race war.
Yeah, that's what he tried starting. Yeah.
What the hell?
We think he actually, if you see the video to the pig's head, it doesn't look right anyway. I mean, it's fresh as out, and it'd been delivered. It'd been posted the day before for a post office, and it was in a box, and it just didn't look right. We think we think he's done it himself anyway, but to try and, like I say, he wanted to get it, like with the police. He told him it was a certain YouTuber that had done it. And then online, he was saying, I mean, I think there's been 5 people that he's blamed for that, but because he was going to the Muslims with it as well. That's what he wanted, and it's dangerous. That's how dangerous it's getting.
They're going to get on side with him, and to be honest, it's so easy. If they can't see that they're being groomed here, because all he's doing is picking a fight with what he regards as, anti-left, anti-whatever. And then going back, telling them a load of crap, so they're going to get involved in a fight and fight on his behalf. That's the stupid thing here. They're being gay.
Yeah. Well, the woman today who's attacked somebody today at Speaker's Corner, she's actually part of that team. She's part of his ring, you know what I mean? So just goes to show and it's an anti-bullying, anti-pedo, and anti-racism channel. And his best mate, it's his best mate that's the dangerous one on that channel. Do you know what I mean? He is, like you say, he's threatened BATZ 1-year-old and everything, told her he'd put it on Pornhub. Do you know what I mean?
The other day they were telling me they've got bullets for my daughter. It's all the time.
Her own daughter's picture.
And that's the vile little bastard that is groomed. That's not him.
Yeah, I've got pictures. I've got an account of my daughter calling me a dirty lesbian, and what's the latest? Apparently, I beat up my ex. That's the latest.
Yeah, you bet your wife.
Story.
Yeah.
So
So they're going really low. Like they're trying to get her. You know what I mean? Because she's not backing down, and they're not happy with that. They're not happy with that. So
he put money. I mean, like he offered back for £10,000 for my details. He also put money on my head the other week. He's done it with YouTubers, putting like wads of money out that is for our information. Or he's going to get a secret, a private investigator. He hasn't got the money. He has got the money,
but it's not the point. I mean, the point is that, he can get people, deluded people that actually do have information to give it to him, and that is what scares me.
I mean, you're right, Cam. This is clearly all BS, but it's the low-grade people that he's putting it out to that are going to be agitated and activate themselves on mistruths, and they're the dangerous ones. If he can make a contrived story about a pig's head, whether it's true or not, but that's easy for him. with this mentality for him to do that to himself, to then do a video of it, blame half a dozen people, again with the theory of the truth can, that a lie can get halfway around the world before the truth has even woke up. And then that will ignite people that believe that they want to fight Islamophobia. So then he's making it all of a sudden a different thing. I totally agree with you, Cam. This is grooming less
And
intellectual.
now he's going to the American channels with all this, what he's doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the American ones aren't like listen, I know they don't see the crap like for what it is now, but they eventually will. Unfortunately, it's in England that is the problem. They're close to him and he's able to groom them, even though he's not actually near them. It's like he's there because he's always on the phone to them. You know, so when they have doubts or anything like that, he'll make sure that he'll refresh. No. Even though I was lying about that. No. Listen to this one. You're cool. And then they're back on track. And they're like, okay, I've got your back, Brian. And then, boom, they're back on the attack. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they're very easily wound up and they take his fight as their fight.
I tell you what, Cam, though, that's dangerous ground. Because if you brainwashing and they see the light, then boy, karma's a bitch and they're going to turn back on it.
Well, I've been waiting for the karma for the little vile little mofo that it is, that like is using Bafreak's dead granny, our father, our kids, and mine, you know what I mean? And running around caught like with far right cam and my picture and all that crap. I'm waiting. But I know he will be caught. I know he will be. But it's like, come on. He's just sinking lower and lower and lower. It's like, how far like do we have to let this go before something gets done?
Yeah.
How far? Because me, I would have already cut a fucking off, but I'm not in England.
Well, I'm going to have to probably wrap it up here. I mean, I've loved this. Could keep going for another 2-3 hours. And you're all more than welcome to come back and do a repeat on this at any point, because I love talking about this and drawing it out. One thing I'll ask all of you before we go, where can you see the base level going on this? Is it going to get that real world where are we all waiting for someone to physically get injured? I mean, I know we've seen that today, but I'm on about even to a worse level than what we're seeing.
Well, because of what I've seen today, again, like even though it's in England, I will be looking over my mofo shoulder like every second. And no, don't think that I'm not going to be prepared, because I will be. I'm taking this shit serious. Sorry for the language, but I am. I'm not taking this as a joke no more. It's not a joke anymore.
It's already impacting people's real lives, and it's become physical. I have to exercise discretion here, actually. Yeah, it's most definitely being dragged into the real world. Very physical. It can only end in people getting hurt.
It already has.
Yeah.
And it's going to just get worse. That's what I fear. Really.
Yeah, I just got a series of messages which have just made me go, oh.
Well, there could be the follow-up right there. And anyone else who is around you and supports you, I know there's a few other people that are probably watching this that maybe next time around they'd love to come in and talk about it. Because honestly, I love, from what I see, you're all brilliant people, right? You're strong individuals to be here and do what you're doing. And there's humility and honesty with what you're talking about. You're owning your positions. That's why we're committed with the position of where you've started from and how distracting this is. But you've proved your worth by just what you're talking about. You know what I mean? And what I would say to you, Cam, as well, what they're trying to say with the far right Cam, what I would really hang on to, and it made me chuckle, is the terminology Cambo.
Yes.
I love that when Simon told me that, I thought, you know what, that's good, right? Because when I heard her coming in like that, she's like Xena, warrior princess. Well, fuck me, that was about right there. I could just see you stitching yourself up, you know what I mean? Just deal with it.
I appreciate it, Phil. I really do. And I appreciate you shining a light on this because it doesn't seem to be like working like for what we're doing. So I really do appreciate it and giving me the chance to explain my side of the story. So I appreciate it and thanks very much.
Right, you don't have to, honestly. Collaborations, loving people for what they are and appreciating that we're all in this same journey. We all online want to get to the same place, don't we? BATZ, would you like to say anything before we end it?
It just needs to stop.
Yeah.
Because it's getting out of hand. It's affecting a lot of people, and it's only a matter of time before it affects his family and his kids. Does that make sense? Like, he's going to really upset some horrible people.
It's already happening though, BATZ, isn't it? I mean, there is pending charges, so the bad karma is starting to happen. It's only probably going to get worse if they choose to carry on with this course, is it not?
Well, what he's doing now because of those charges is letting his friend, the lad that's on that channel with him, do all the others. Now take that on, if you know what I mean. Like mentioning what the person who it's about and trolling them and that. So unfortunately, I see it's going to get worse. Someone's going to get hurt before something seriously done.
Well, you know that old saying, it's only going to get worse before it gets better, right? And unfortunately, that's why I said, Phil, I'm taking no chances, right? So because I'm in Ireland and we deal with shit differently, and people do anyway. So yes, I've had death threats, and it's like I'm going to take it serious. So I will be prepared. I'm not going to fucking let anything happen to my kids. You fucking come near my kids. And yes, they will be with me. They don't care. So that's what I'm saying. So I do worry for that freak, you know what I mean? Because she's a younger mother. She's in London. They know where she is. They know where her family is.
I can handle myself, don't worry.
Yeah, I know, but it's but it's just like, as I said, I mean,
what I see is a collaboration of people here, and I'd like to introduce myself into that collaboration. I'm not in your world, and I'm not saying I'm now going to jump into your world as well, but what I will say is that you can always rely on me to help and support you through this channel doing what I do. And that can only hope from a different direction pose a light on this subject. You know what I mean?
It's always good, to have an outside perspective that's less loaded, and you can see things far more objectively. So thank you.
Well, mate, thank you guys for.
I appreciate you as well, Phil.
Honestly, guys, thank you for your time and your patience with this and sorting it out in the background. And the one thing that's really got me into this, I will say this, is that people are fucking sick of it, pardon my French, because we're coming online to try and do good by people, but this is becoming an overt problem and a consequence of it as well, and it's getting bigger and bigger, and people are seeing it on multiple channels wherever they go. You know what I'm saying? So, but what I do like about this, guys, is that we've been able to do this without the discombobulation of a comment section. You know what lives are like, you know the way people jump in. And if the people that we're talking about got onto we were doing this and we were doing a live, look how much damage they would have wanted to create and make sure that we weren't talking about this. So there's going to be an element about this post-production that's going to fuck them off because they're not going to be able to stop it. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Yeah.
But guys, honestly, thank you very much for all your help, your patience. I'm totally fading. If it wasn't for this fucking illusion,
I can see you.
fucking going out. Whichever got white walls, honestly. Oh Jesus! But
it's really good speaking to you, Phil. Nice to meet you.
You
well,
too.
Grandma,
Thank
well,
you so
Grandma
much.
and
Thank you a
Longafall and Mo Sheriff, take it easy. Thank you,
And
Phil.
much respect for shining a light on the
time.
No worries at all. Stay positive and don't let him get you down, even though I know how it must feel. But there's people that are supporting all around you, so you know, hopefully that'll give you a little bit of optimism about the future of it all.
Respect, Phil. Respect.
Nice one.
Longafall.
Yeah.
See you, Simon. Take it easy.
You
Bye, everyone.
guys. Thank
Bye-bye.
you very much for your time. See you now.
Bye.
Great guys, honest, forthright. It's been a great interview, multi-interview. Support what they're doing. Please subscribe to what they're doing. Really support these guys. There's a personal, real-life element that is running from genre to genre, and it's getting uncomfortable now. So shining a light is imperative. Thank you very much to one and all. Remember, this is Red Pill Phil on YouTube. All together, collectively, we're not taking any shit. Love you all, even the pissing haters.
I love you. 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 I love you.
Even the pissing haters.
I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you.